What's up, little gamers? This is Little Money, and today we'll be playing Cinderella Phenomenon. We stopped on chapter 6, I believe, so let's go ahead and get started. The truth? My only answer is silence. I shift my gaze to Rod, but he only avoids my eyes. What is going on? Princess, it is very likely that this witch in the palace is looking for you. What? I cast a glamour on you a long time ago so that you could remain hidden from magical eyes. I did it to protect you, but this witch in question can see through the spell I've cast on you. It is my belief that they are actively looking for you. I close my eyes and massage the temples of my head as I feel a headache coming on. Wait, you said before that the witches want to see their curses unbroken, but this sounds as if they have another motive altogether. What reasons could they have for trailing me? The Tenebrarium has been without a barrier for a long time, ever since the end of the war. A new barrier, however, will soon arise, and the crystal is ready to support them. Some of the witches, the wicked ones, want to make sure that the Tenebrarium continues to spread darkness, even with this new barrier in charge. Okay, but what does that have to do with me? Delora crosses her arm, her expressions grin. The title of the barriers passed down from one descendant to the next. Princess, the last Tenebrarium barrier was the late Queen of Angel, your mother. Oh, interesting. I feel my blood go cold. What? As you are the Queen's daughter, you are the next heir. Oh snap! This is getting juicy, guys. Come your 18th birthday, you will inherit the title of the Tenebrarium barrier. Wow. Seriously, I cannot read today. Or ever. Mother? A witch? Impossible. Why would you spout such lies? I narrow my eyes at them, searching for some hint that they are lying to me. Delora and Parfait never turn their sad eyes away from me. Rod glances at me briefly before turning away, looking uncomfortable. Hildred, your mother and I used to work together to maintain balance. Oh, she was about to say her name, but she kind of stopped in the middle of it. But the witch hunt drove her mad and turned her heart to ice. Oh, hence why she's the ice princess. But she never used any magic. I would have known if she was a witch. It's possible that you did in the past, but then it seems she erased all your memories of her true identity. Delora was already able to ascertain that most of your memories of her have been snatched away. Hildred is that how you say her name? Hildred? I'll just say Hildred needed you to remain obedient so that when you finally did inherit her role as the barrier, you would continue to do so as she wanted. My thoughts feel as if they were spinning endlessly in axis. The real reason I cursed you was to see if you're truly capable of goodness, princess. So, she was cursed for a good cause. Hildred's influence clung to you even after her death, and we feared that you will continue her previous work. Dang, no trust in her whatsoever. The NGL might once again fall to darkness if you were not able to help the dark emotions in your heart. So then you cursed me because you were terrified of what I would do if I became the barrier as I was? My only answer is silence. Now I understand why the people hated me. It was because I am my mother's daughter. I cannot help but reach out to touch the pendant on my necklace as I'm feeling of dread washes over me. We know that there is goodness in you, princess. We only wanted you to realize it by breaking your curse. Parfait sighs, looking guilty. It was a selfish act on our part, I know. It really was, but for a good reason. But we cannot risk another great war. I'm with you, sis. They believed that I would have plunged the world into war. Yes, Iris, you would. I turned to Rod, who has yet to speak since the conversation started. Did you know about this? Everyone knows the story of the Tenenbaum witch and her daughter. Everyone except me? Oh, you were an outcast girl. I glanced down at my hand, suddenly feeling numb. I am a witch, and I would become the Tenenbaum's next barrier? Just the thought of it makes me sick. I think back to my childhood. I can still recall the glares that everyone gave me when I was a child. They were scared of me because I was my mother's daughter? What about the king? Did he never love me because I was the daughter of a witch? But if that is the case, if my mother was so wicked, then why did the king marry her in the first place? Hildred threatened to kill the woman that he loved if he did not to marry her. She threatened to kill Ophelia. No way! Oh my gosh, I am mind blown right now. Dang! This is too hot. The tea is boiling hot. Ophelia? So the king has loved Ophelia from the very beginning? I clenched my hands into my tight fists. After mother died, he was able to reunite with his true love, and since then he has treated Emmeline and Rod better than he has ever treated me, even though I am his daughter by blood. I want to feel angry about the revelation, but instead I feel a dreary emptiness inside of me. A heavy feeling begins to settle on my chest, suffocating my heart. He never really loved me. Oh, Iris. Rod's voice snaps me out of my thoughts, and that is when I realize that a stray tear has made it down my cheek. I quickly wipe it away with the back of my hand. Oh my gosh, sorry guys, I just yawned. I had a long day at work. Angry at myself for showing weakness in front of them. You must be happy to see me like this. What? Your mother was made queen and you and your sister became royals overnight. It's like something out of a fairy tale, isn't it? You thought you had the perfect life until I came back into it. I never asked for this to happen, I just wanted to. Rod suddenly moves his hand to Sebby's mouth, muffling whatever other words the plush was going to say for him. What is that you want to say, Rod? It's nothing. I can assure you, however, that the power that comes with the crown has always been irrelevant to my family and I. So stop assuming that everyone around you is after your title or your riches. Did your time with my sister not teach you anything? Oh. I am about to angrily retort when I suddenly stop, my heart sinking. I've already recognized that Emmeline is more complex than I thought she was, and she has also told me that she never wanted to be princess. My mother wouldn't have married the king if my father was still here. Dolores looks between the two of us and sighs. And Tira, I thought your relationship had improved. Now it seems like it's back to square one. I cross my arms and turn away, annoyed. Do you have something else to add, Parfait? If not, I would like to return to the palace. Princess, stay vigilant and be careful about who you trust. Trust? How do you know who I might trust? What makes you even think I trust you? Oh, the anger that I was expecting earlier suddenly rises to the surface. For all I know, Parfait and Dolores could be feeding me lies, playing with me the way Dolores did when she first cursed me. I don't expect you to believe what we told you. Perhaps it was not yet the right time to reveal everything to you. But please, you need to be careful. I stand up and look at them, my arms now hanging limply at my sides. How am I meant to trust anyone when all of you have been lying to me this entire time? Iris, if you don't believe us, then try asking the king who Hildred truly is. I never even thought about asking the king about mother. Rod, you should watch your back too. It's possible that this witch in question could be plotting something against the royal family as well. They have been in the palace for a long time, after all. She looks at me, then at Rod, her expression somber. I won't be able to stay with you anymore. I had to pick up and leave a few days ago because I was certain he caught a trace of my magic. He probably already has. I understand. Anyway, Iris is right to return to the palace now. Someone may notice your absence if you're gone much longer. You two should leave now. Let us know if you notice anything unusual. I will. We'll see you again, Princess. Remember, stay vigilant. Rod and I leave the marchen in silence. Here in the secret tunnels, we are suffocated under even more silence, but still neither of us makes an effort to speak. I am still stuck inside my own mind, shifting through my troubled thoughts. I can't reconcile the fact that the wicked witch who led the witches during the war was my mother. I did not even realize how many people hated my mother until after she had passed, and they spoke about how cruel a queen she was. I never understood why she has always been the perfect person in my eyes. I never connected my mother with the Tenebrae barrier. But what Parfait Dolores just told me makes sense. Was I living a lie all those years? A lie that my mother crafted so that I remained cold and bitter even after she passed away? And Dolores and Parfait said I meant to inherit the power of the Tenebrae from my mother. I do not want that burden. I almost bump into Rod's back when he suddenly stops walking. He turns around and looks at me with a serious expression. I cannot help but feel judged beneath the weight of that gaze. If you're going to tell me which you never wanted me as your partner because my mother was a witch, then I wasn't going to say that. What? I won't lie. The first time I saw you, I thought you were like your mother. You were cold, harsh, and selfish. I never wanted to have anything to do with you. That is why I was so against this partnership, but you've changed. Rod's expression softens. As you and Em have grown closer, I've seen that you are not like your mother. She speaks fondly of you, and I can tell she really enjoys your company. That's why, even if I do not have plans to break my curse, I will still do what I can to help you break yours. It's the least I can do as your partner. I stare at Rod in shock. This is the first time he has ever been so nice to me. Why are you staring at me like that? I'm only doing this because you're important to my sister. Oh, he blushed! How cute! I love it when guys blush. It's so adorable. Rod turns away, his face beet red. Liar. Rod reaches up to pinch Sebby's face. Ow! What do we do? Should we thank him or should we compliment him? I think we should compliment him, hopefully to get another little blushy moment from him. Who would have thought that you were actually capable of being nice? What? Was that supposed to be a compliment? It's a tease, Ron. It's a tease. Yes, you were always so grumpy. I don't even think I have a genuine smile on your face before. I've seen a genuine smile on your face before. I can say the same for you. Birds of the feather flock together then. Rod stares at me dumbfounded. I cannot help but smile a little at his expression. Do you really dislike the fact that we are so similar? Rod is still staring at me, wide-eyed. You just smiled. I did not. Oh, this is so cute. Rod thinks your smile is pretty. Oh. I do not. Oh, this is cute. Oh, you two really are the same. Sebby, you a real one. I take a deep breath to calm the erratic beating in my heart. Anyway, I still want to help you with your curse. Rod, why do you refuse to break it? Rod stares down at his feet, expression melancholy. Because I cannot. Rod stops and shakes his head. He says nothing else, and I do not probe him anymore, especially not after seeing the distant look on his face. We walk through the corridor and back to our rooms after we say our goodbyes. I wonder what Rod was going to say. Oh, another dream. Mother, look! Eleanor gave me this gift. Eleanor? She's my maid and my friend. Princess, don't make friends with their servants. But she is really nice. She even taught me how to braid my hair like. Those servants are only nice to you because you are the princess. They only pretend to be your friends so they can have power over you. But Eleanor would never. What reason do I have to lie to you? When have I ever lied to you, little one? You have never lied to me. That is correct. Tomorrow I will remedy this situation. I will hire a new maid. You are not to befriend this one, no matter what she says. But Mother... Are you arguing with me, Iris? No, I'm sorry, Mother. Dang, that's why I don't like the mother at all. Rude. It has been days since Parfait and Delora revealed my mother's true identity, and the inevitable responsibility I am to have on my shoulders once I turned 18. I have been trying to ask the king about Mother, but he is even busier these days than he was before, and it's impossible to find a single moment in the day to speak with him. The fact that I am a maid makes it even harder to garner his attention. When I'm not on break, I continue to do my duties serving Emmeline. Right now, I am accompanying her as she practices her walk and posture. Ophelia has been helping her, pointing out any mistakes she finds. I know how hard this is, dear. I had to go through the training as well before I married the king. Emmeline allows her shoulders to slouch as she lets out an exasperated sigh. I've always hated these lessons. I had thought my posture was fine. This is supposed to refine it, and yet all these lessons have been doing is hurting my back. Oh, Emmeline, you'll get the hang of this. You'll just need to keep practicing. But Mother, I have the same lessons before. Why must I do it again? Because you slouch when you walk, and that is unbecoming of a princess. Bro, I slouch a lot, and I need to get my posture in check. Emmeline scowls at her mother, and Ophelia frowns falls away as she bursts into laughter. Mother, you're not helping. The atmosphere in the room is far from heavy as Emmeline and her mother continue to conduct their lessons. It is almost the exact opposite of the lessons I had with Mother. Mother always got angry when I made even the smallest mistakes. I know this is hard, but as the crown princess, all eyes will be on you during the ball. The people there will judge any small mistake you make, which is why you need to be on top form on that night. I know. Ophelia claps her hands. Alright, now to start again. Emmeline groans before heading to the far wall and straightening her back. She takes a deep breath, puts on a book on her head, and begins to walk again. The book falls from her head on her third step. She sighs, moves back, and starts the process again. Neither of us breaks Emmeline's concentration by speaking. We stand idly by and watch as she tries time and time again. I am surprised when Ophelia leans towards me and begins to whisper. Iris, I've been meaning to say this before, but I am grateful that you are friends with my daughter. Oh. I look at Ophelia's smiling face with surprise. I never agreed to be your friend. You are not against the princess making friends with her servants? Why would I be? This goes back to the dream that she had with her mom saying that she can't be friends with servants. Makes sense now. I actually wish more of the staff here wouldn't be so uptight, since I would love for Emmeline to be on the good terms with the people who serve her. Wow, the mom is so nice. Besides, social status is never an obstacle to friendship, and that is true. Ophelia shifts her gaze back to Emmeline, who is now picking up the book that has once again fallen from her head. No matter your occupation or status, a friend is always a friend. Word. You've given Emmeline the courage she needs to face the many challenges she has ahead of her. In a way, you're like family, since you're always around us. She is your family. Like family. Come what may, both family and friends are there for you and will accept you for who you are. Even before I was cursed, Emmeline was always trying to be my friend. That means she knew all along who my mother was and still wanted to be my friend. The thought makes me remember that what Parfait told me about Mother, threatening to kill Ophelia if the king did not marry her. I turned to Ophelia, curious. Your Majesty, may I ask what you know about the late Queen's rule? She's like, next topic, please. Ophelia looks at me quizzically. so I quickly add a thoughtless line. I was not an NGO and have only heard stories. I just thought it was so hard to believe. What with how peaceful things are in the palace right now? The kingdom was a dark place back then. People lived in fear under her rule. The king had no real power over NGL. The witches had free reign over the kingdom. They cast the fairy tale curse insistently and on a whim. We barely left our houses in fear of becoming cursed. Mother's reign was that terrible? The king still blames himself for the darkness that befall NGL during that time. This is why he works day in and out to stabilize the country and to put smiles on everyone's faces. BS, guys. No, I'm kidding. I remember long ago how he told me one of the reasons he would always continue to work hard for this kingdom was because he wanted to make a brighter tomorrow for his children. Ophelia looks confused for a few moments, then brushes off the awkwardness with a small chuckle. He helps the family in his own way. Is it possible that he said that with me in mind and Ophelia's slip up? But then maybe he was always referring to Emmeline and Rod. The kingdom's come a long way since then, hasn't it? There are still witches here and there, but most of them don't bother others. I pray that the peace we are experiencing right now will last. I see. Thank you for telling me. It is a bit of a dear topic, but I'm happy to have helped. If you need anything else, please don't hesitate to call on me. I know it may not be a traditional protocol for a queen, but then I do not consider myself a typical queen. I try my best to listen to everyone here regardless of what their title or name might be. And that is a good queen, guys. A very nice one. I can only nod at her in response. Princess or maid, the way Ophelia has treated me has never changed. She always treated me with kindness regardless of who I am. I never saw it before because I was always so distant from everyone. But now I see that Ophelia treats everyone here with kindness regardless of social status. I was always frustrated by the servants when they compared Ophelia to Mother, saying she was superior. But now, I think I understand why they would make such comparisons. Emmeline dismisses me after my lessons, and I begin to head immediately back to my room. I have just turned a corner when I notice Sir Alcaster standing before me, scowling. Watch where you're going, child. I quickly avert my gaze, not wanting a confrontation. He always looks at me so strangely, almost like he can see into my mind or is trying to. My apologies, Sir Alcaster. Sir Alcaster nods his head at me stiffly before walking off. You are pardoned, Princess. No. I turn to stare after him, but he has already turned the corner. He just said princess, so he knows what's up. My blood becomes cold. Was that just a slip of the tongue? But how else could he know that I am the princess? Is it possible that he is cursed? No, somehow that does not seem right. But if he does not have the fairy tale curse, could he be the witch that Dolores warned me about? What reason would he have for unveiling his identity then? Unless he just wants to intimidate me further. It occurs to me that Fritz still remembers who I am. Did he tell his father about me? No, I am not. I am even more confused about who I should trust. Iris? I jumped up when I hear Rod called me. His expression slowly creases with something that looks like worry. You're pale. Did something happen? Would he believe me if I told him? Yes, girl, tell him. He's your partner. You gotta tell him. Sir Alcaster knows I am the princess. Do you think he is the witch Dolores was talking about? I whispered the words to him in response by raising his eyebrows, looking surprised. What makes you say that? This isn't just because of the standoffish way he acts, is it? You don't believe me. Oh! Rude. Rod, you're cancelled. Rod sighs. I never said that I didn't. That's true. It's just that we can't just blindly accuse anyone without any real proof. But dude, he just said princess. I am the real proof. I am the other witness. Rod stares at me for a few moments, then closes his eyes, his eyebrows slightly furrowed with thought, my bad. Sir Fitzgerald also remembers who you are. I do not want to be suspicious of Fritz, but I don't think blindly trusting him would be right either, given these circumstances. You need to stay vigilant around him. If anything happens, you can come talk to me about it. You're worried about me? Rod averts his gaze from me. Oh yeah, he's definitely worried about you, girl. Of course I am. Wow, you're actually being honest. Dang, Sebi, call him out. Yes. What? I love how Iris is always saying, what? Rod glares at Sebi before pinching his cheek. Anyway, I must leave now. I have a dance to practice for. Dance? But you already know how to dance. What do you have left to practice? Rod does not answer and only walks away. I decide to follow after him. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, dance. Why did you follow me? I shrug. I wanted to see you practice. To be honest, I want to see him dance. I already know that Emmeline is very clumsy when it comes to dancing, but outside of the one practice with Emmeline, I have never seen Rod dance. Emmeline always gloats on her piaffe, but I have yet to witness Rod's supposed talent with my own eyes. Our dance together was so short, I barely had any time to judge him. I do not practice with an audience. Oh, why? It is my preference. Rod is easily embarrassed. Oh, that is so cute. Rod groans and pinches one of Sebi's cheeks, glowing. Sorry. Rod reluctantly releases the bunny with a sigh. I notice you have been talking more lately, Sebi. Oh, that's because Rod here has been saying things that contradict what he thinks or feels. Ah! Yes, Sebi, call him out again. Sebi makes a sound of defeat as Rod once again pinches one of his cheeks. Rod stares at me with wide eyes, and I stare back, beginning to panic. What is wrong? You smiled again. I put my hand on my mouth, blushing. I was smiling again? I never even noticed. It was a pretty smile, princess. Right, Rod? Oh, I'm even blushing, guys. Rod quickly turns away, cheeks slightly pink. It was more than pink, it was beet red. I need to practice now, so I would appreciate you leaving. He did not even command me to leave. What a surprise. Emmeline said you were a really good dancer. I want to see it with my own eyes. I'm not here to judge you. I'm sure that I'm a better dancer. Let's provoke him. I am sure that I am a better dancer than you. The scowl on Rod's face deepens. I almost smirk. Maybe he is reluctant to show me, but Rod is full of pride. He sure is. He is more likely to show me if I pose a challenge, and he will. You didn't have to. You didn't even answer the question. I didn't. And are you underestimating my dancing? We sure are, boo. The others may have forgotten, but you still remember, do you not? I am a princess and was taught by the kingdom's best instructor. Ooh, we're poking him more. Poke the bear, poke the sleeping bear, the hibernating bear, poke him more. I say the words with pride, and I notice Rod's lips twitch in response. It actually makes me feel accomplished to get under Rod's skin when he's usually the one getting under mine. Ooh, we're playing the game, guys. Having the best instructor does not automatically make you the best dancer. That is true. I am pretty confident with my own skills. Say what you want, but I will refuse to believe you without any proof. I still say that I am a better dancer than you are. Rod steps forward and pulls me suddenly into his arms. Oh! Taking me by surprise, he looks at me, clearly determined. Fine then. You'll have your proof. I will make you swallow those words with this dance. Gladly, Rod. We shall see. Rod starts leading the dance. He glides us into an imagery rhythm of a waltz. Even without the music, I am able to count the steps in my head as I follow his lead. This is different from the shore dance we showed Emmeline. Rod's movements are graceful, his touch gentle as he leads me to an underarm twirl. Oh, close and personal. When I come to face him once again, I notice the gentle way he stares at me. The usual hardness of his expression is gone, melted into something relaxed. I find myself staring back at him, looking into his eyes. Perhaps Rod does have something gentleness to him. Our gaze does not break as he twirls me. You have beautiful eyes. Rod's eyes widen as soon as mine do. He abruptly lets go of my hands and steps back. I could only stare at him, my face warm. It wasn't me this time. That was more than just a thought, I swear. Rod says nothing, though his cheeks continue to darken with embarrassment. Oh my. Rod and I turn to look at Emmeline, who's over by the door. No! She saw all that. That's embarrassing. Oh my gosh. Excuse me. Rod quickly walks through the doorway and out into the hallway, leaving Emmeline and I alone in the room. What just happened, girl? A lot just happened. Let me tell you that. Rod is into you. That was a wonderful dance, Iris. Oh my gosh. Emmeline is so dumb. Is she like, does she know what's going on? You were watching? I only just saw the last few minutes, but you know, the two of you really do look like a couple. It was sweet. Oh, never mind. This girl's on the train. She's with us, guys. She is shipping it. She is shipping it like we are. A couple? Oh, you're blushing. I put my hand on my cheek and turned away with a scowl. I am not. Besides, whatever just happened was embarrassing. Oh my gosh, you guys, I'm smiling so hard. This is so cute. Do you like Rod? Ding! Straight up asked the question. I stared at her. I do not. Also, you are forgetting that I'm a maid who cannot be with the prince even if I wanted to. He's grumpy and cold, just like you, Iris. And even though we are not blood related, he's still my stepbrother. If only Emmeline realized how crazy her words were in the light of truth. Emmeline suddenly looks starry-eyed as she giggles at me. Love knows no boundaries, dear Iris. Besides, he seems to like you. Your brother hates me. Rod can be a contradiction sometimes, so she knows. Sometimes he says the opposite of what he feels. It's only when you get to know him, as well as I do, that you realize what his truths are. I cannot help to think of Sebi, who always speaks Rod's thoughts out loud when they are contradictory. He was always so mean to Viorica when we were young. He would always bully her for being a crybaby, even though he cried far more often. Dang, everyone is calling out Rod this chapter. I love it. But then I realized that he treated her more special than he did anyone else. Back then, I knew he liked her. I thought that one day the two of them might even grow to love each other, but Emmeline lets out a long sigh as she directs her attention out the window. His attitude towards her has changed ever since he was cursed. Then they grew even more distant when Viorica found a lover. Everything happens for a reason, Emmeline, let me tell you that. We all knew that Rod liked Viorica. He was being mean and rude once he knew that she was getting married and stuff like that. Is that the reason why you have been going to the toy shop with Prince Rod? Does he want to bring them back together? Emmeline nods. The three of us were best friends, the three musketeers. It's not the same without Rod. I keep on asking him what's wrong, but he refuses to tell me. He's always been stubborn, but it's not like him to keep secrets. It's really frustrating because I have no idea what I should do to help him. I thought he was just being stubborn with me, but apparently no amount of prodding, even from his own family, will make him budge. Why is he being so difficult? I hope you do not mind me asking, but what do you know about his curse? Emmeline stares at me for a few moments before nodding. You're my friend, Iris, and I know I can confide in you. I know that sometimes I'm not trusting enough, but I think Emmeline is still far too trusting. She really is. She's really gullible. We only know that he has the mermaid's curse. I've read the story so many times, hoping that I could figure out some way to break his curse. I think back and realize that I had actually read the beginning of The Little Mermaid a long time ago, but I did not have the chance to finish it because I was caught by Mother. The Little Mermaid, it's about a mermaid who trades her voice for legs, right? Yes, she does it so she could be with her prince. Rod's voice was taken away, but I'm sure that he was given something in exchange. I've heard that the curse are derived from the original tales, but that they are twisted in some way to fit the format of a curse. I nod slowly, thoughtful. I have a strong feeling that Rod's curse is related to Viorca, but I cannot draw the connection. But still, Viorca might be the key to understanding his curse. If Rod will not divulge anything, the next best chance we have of understanding his curse might be going through Viorca. Oh, so we're going to investigate. Chapter 7, Be careful for what you wish for. Today is the first time that I am leaving the palace on a day off. Usually I choose to stay inside. Whereas the other servants always leave to go home, I never see any reason to leave since this has always been my home. And the merchant has never been home. Besides, it is not as if I want to return, not after the conversation we all shared last time. Thus, I've spent most of my days asking questions about Mother's reign, inquiring when and where I can. The opinions do not surprise me. I was so scared of her. One wrong move and she had thrown you in prison. The town folk would always wait for her to pass by before leaving their houses. She was a tyrant. The kingdom is a better place now that she's gone. Dang, I mean, it is the truth. There is no reason for them to lie to me. The more I hear, the more my old life makes sense to me. I now know why the king never seemed to love Mother, and why the people hated her, and the reason people looked at me with such fear. However, it has been months since I've been glared at in public. If there is one good thing that this curse did for me, is that it allows me to travel around town without being noticed. As Viorca's shops comes into view, my thoughts shift to the reason I have left the palace in the first place. If Rod will not tell me anything, I will have to ask Viorca. She must be related in some way to this curse. I paused outside the door to the toy shop. With a deep breath, I pushed the door open. Welcome! The moment she sees me, her expression becomes confused. Oh, you're the princess maid. Iris, wasn't it? I nod at her. You've never come in here but alone before. What can I help you with? I want to ask you something. It is about Prince Rod. Prince Rod? Did something happen to him? Is he okay? He is fine. She sighs with relief. Then what is it you would like to ask? I just wanted to know if you knew anything about Prince Rod's sudden muteness. Viorca stares at me for a few moments before she shakes her head. I only know that it happened soon after I met my fiancé, Simone. What reason do you have for asking? Well, I tried to think of a possible explanation for this, and I immediately considered Emmeline. Viorca is Emmeline's best friend. Surely she would be willing to help if she knew I was doing this for Emmeline. Prince Rod has been very quiet recently. Princess Emmeline has been worried sick about him, but he refuses to say anything even to her. I have been trying to gather information that might be helpful in discerning the cause. I stare at her expectantly, hoping that my gaze holds nothing but determination. Finally, Viorca smiles. She's lucky to have a dedicated friend like you. I am still not accustomed to the fact that Emmeline considers me a friend. Before she becomes Before she became the princess, I was her first confidant. We were like sisters. But now that she's living in the castle, we no longer have the luxury of spending so much time together. I worry about her constantly. Even around me, Em always tends to keep her problems to herself. At first, she doesn't like to bother other people with them. It is hard not to agree. With the way Emmeline was always smiling before, I never thought she had any problems in her life. It was only recently that I discovered that she was hiding all of her loneliness and pain behind a smile. It was a relief that she befriended someone who cares so much about her. I don't know if I can be much help, but I'll tell you what I know if it will help Emmeline. To start with, I am not exactly sure how everything changed, but it all happened so suddenly. All I know is that after the night I met Decimon, our relationship changed. At first, he still smiled, but recently he's been avoiding me. What happened between the two of you that night you met your fiancé? Nothing. Rod and I did not meet on that day. Prince Rod wasn't there? No, but soon after what happened that night, Rod grew distant. What happened? Oh, it was a stormy night, and I was headed back home. I took the route by the riverbank because it was the shortest route. It was foolish of me. The road was slippery and full of mud. I lost my footing and fell into the water. The waves were strong, and I was certain I was going to drown. I don't remember what happened in the darkness of the water, only that I woke up, my head was on Dekimon's lap. That was the first time we met, but not the last. He carried me home, and he came by every day as I was recovering, and then he came to visit even after I had recovered. I tried not to get my hopes up too much, because what could this nobleman see in me, a mere commoner? Oh, he's a nobleman! Wow, she scored big. But I still ended up falling in love with him. You have no idea how happy I was when he said he loved me too. It was a dream come true. Of course, every girl's dream of marrying a prince. It was all in all of the fairy tales that I've read as a child. None of that was at all related to Rod. How does this relate to his curse? You said you were in a relationship with Prince Rod changed after that night. What happened? Eureka sighs. I told Em and Rod about Decimon. It sounds like a Pokemon, honestly. Soon after the incident, Em was happy that the two of us had fallen in love. But Rod? Oh my gosh, I'd be yawning like crazy. Rod didn't say much of anything. That's when I noticed he started growing distant, and when I realized that he had also lost his voice. He still won't tell me anything, but I figured that he was. Her voice fades, but I know that she was referring to his curse. So Rod lost his voice shortly after Viorica met her fiancé. I'm tired of saying that name, if I'm being honest. Who names their child that? The mermaid's curse must have something to do with the tale. The little mermaid traded her voice for legs so that she could be with her prince. But that night, the only person who found their prince charming was Viorica. Rod's curse must have something to do with her fiancé and Viorica. He became distant with her after finding about her fiancé. Why? Then there is the fact that he still spoke to Viorica even if he was distant. It was only when he found out that their wedding that he had become so cold. I frowned as I tried to organize my thoughts. How did it get to be this late? I'm so sorry, Arius, but I have to close the shop now. Sorry for the story. I knew it was nothing to do with Rod, but it was after that incident that he began to act strangely. Look at me, Detective Iris, trying to figure out what is going on. I don't think I was much help, but I shake my head. You have told me what you could. Viorica walks me to the door, opening it so that the both of us can step out into the street together. I really hope that you're able to help Emmeline and Rod. I hope so too. Did you see Ophelia the other day? I catch the sight of two noblemen sitting on the bench together. not too far away from the toy shop. They were referring to Ophelia without her title. How disrespectful. Who would have thought a peasant like her could almost look like royalty? But her dress, as the queen, she ought to be wearing silks rather than satin. I do not know why, but I bristled at their comments. Everyone is entitled to their own opinion, but the fact they are speaking so bluntly in public means they have little worrying of being overheard. I'm still not sure what the king saw in her. Well, you know what they say about ladies liking natural beauty. Don't even start. They're so rude. Her talents must lie in another, more persuasive area. That's so disgusting. I hate when people talk like that. It just pisses me off. She must be very persuasive indeed if the king saw it worthwhile to marry her. Oh my gosh. Come on, Iris. We gotta do something. As the two women laugh, I feel something hot begin to burn in my stomach. Viorica takes a sharp breath beside me. Since I became a maid in the palace, Ophelia has been nothing but kind to me, a mere servant. She has all the right to flaunt her status and title, yet she remains humble. I now know that this is why everyone at the palace loves her. Common women like her can only keep a man's attention for so long. I start walking towards them without thinking. Iris, I wouldn't. You have no right to say those things about the queen. Yes, Iris. Yes, we stand. The two women are clearly surprised at my interruption. Both of them glared at me. And you have no right to eavesdrop on us. Well, geez, y'all was speaking so loudly that I happened to hear it all. Eavesdropping? Anyone could have heard you. Yes, Iris, we're on the same page. Their mouths fall open. One of the women looks at me for a long time, then sneers suddenly, as if something has occurred to her. I thought you looked familiar. You're the crown prince's personal maid. I see you always following around her like when she's in town. This is none of your business, girl. Why do you care so much for our opinions? Perhaps it's because the girl idolizes the queen, thinks she might also go from rags to riches. What? Oh, you do have a point. They stand and advance towards me. Do you want the prince for yourself, girl? If a commoner can become the queen, it is not too difficult to imagine yourself as a princess, is it? How foolish. You better off dreaming smaller dreams, girl. No. Come on, Iris, we gotta fight back. They laugh and their irritation in my chest blares into full-on anger. Is this what Ophelia has been dealing with for the past year? She's being treated so cruelly when she has done nothing but love the king. And I also ridiculed her just like this. I forced myself to look at the cruel woman as I moved my hand to the pendant hanging around my neck. I was just as cruel as them. I barely feel Viorica's hand as she rested against my shoulder. Iris, let it go. Her Majesty wouldn't want you to do this. Yeah, Iris, be the bigger person after I told you to go fight them, but it's okay. Be the bigger person. But I cannot just let those two women talk about Ophelia like this. I pull away from Viorica and stand firm. The queen has a good heart. She is far more noble than either of you could ever hope to be. I think back on the times I was cruel to her. Ophelia could have easily reprimanded me for my behavior. She had the right as a stepmother, yet she has been nothing but kind to me. Ophelia never got angry at me, even despite my treatment toward her and her family. She has always treated others with kindness, even when they are cruel to her. Judging from the bitterness of your accusations, it seems like you are jealous of her. Exactly, they really are. Because if they were in her place, shoot, they would be living the life and they would not be talking crap they won't be talking about crap like that. They're hypocrites. How pathetic. The other woman marches towards me and my hand instinctively moves to hold her hand just before her palm reaches my cheek. Yes, Iris. Yes, say not today, B. I would not tolerate any insults towards the queen. A soft light emanates from the pendant and I can only stare at it in a shock. I got another good deed? Yes, Iris, you stood up for her. By defending Ophelia? The woman snatches her hand away. How dare a peasant like you talk the way... Ugh. My nose is so stuffy that I can't properly breathe, and that makes me not talk like perfectly. Let me take a breather. Okay. How dare a peasant like you talk that way to us? Have you no manners? No, I do not. I'm a freaking princess, that's why. I can ask you the same. What happened to yours? Oh, burn. How dare you? Don't you know who we are, girl? I will see you pay for your impertinence. Bro, I can't even You hear that? I can't even breathe through my nose. What the heck? What is going on? I have to breathe through my mouth while talking? That is really hard. Our words have far more weight than yours ever will. I will go to the king myself to tell him about how rude you were. I can pass on that message myself. I turned to see Rod walking towards us, expression cold. The two noblewomen hastily curtsy. Yes, Rod, come to the rescue. My knight in shining armor. Your Highness! The noblewoman turned pale as Rod's eyes fall on them. Actually, we have an important dinner engagement. Yes, we do. The two noblewomen curtsied before quickly departing. What are you doing here without your guards? What trouble have you gotten yourself into now? Ooh. Should we tell him or do not tell him? Let's not tell him. I don't think we should blow the good deed we did. You know what I'm saying? It's nothing. If you refuse to tell me what happened, I will have to assume that the noblemen were telling you the truth about you. Viorica's coming to the rescue! Iris has done nothing wrong here. In fact, I think Iris only did what you or Emily would have done had you heard the awful things those women were saying about your mother. What? She stood up for the queen when she didn't have to. Then why didn't you say so? Why didn't you say so? Na 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 moment. I don't know the lyrics of the rest of the song. Would you have believed me? Oh. Rod drops his gaze from mine. You never gave me a chance to believe you, did you? You would have believed me? How am I to know that? Rod is like a walking contradiction. Yeah, it's kind of hard to trust him after he didn't believe us that Sir Alcaster called us princess. So we did what we had to do. Rod glances up again, this time to look at Viorica. We shouldn't keep you from returning home, Viorica. I'll take Iris back to the palace. Viorica's eyes narrow and she looks ready to say something, but Rod has already reached out for my hand to pull me along behind him. We were out of sight of Viorica's shop. Bro, why am I freaking yawning so much? Man, I did have a long day at work. It's a lot of physical. It's more of like a physical demanding job, and I'm really tired. But I want to read the story because I want to know what's going to happen. Okay, let's continue. Let's start all over. We were out of sight of Viorica's shop. Rod stops, releasing my hand as he turns to my face. Do you really think I would refuse to believe you if you told me the truth? Yeah. Duh, because you're always so rude to us. You never liked me. You have no reason to believe me. Rod sighs, running a hand through his hair. I told you that I would help you break the curse, right? That offer alone should be enough for you to know that I... Rod turns away, suddenly look embarrassed. Are you going to say that you like me? Or you love me? Oh, which one is it, Rod? That I don't dislike you anymore? Well, that's better than nothing. Am I right? You are expecting me just to assume that? How would I know unless you made that absolutely clear? Exactly. Communication is key, guys. Well, I'm making it clear now. He is. Not gonna lie. I understand. Anyway, thank you for standing up for my mother. It seems like you don't require my assistance in breaking your curse after all. He gestures to my necklace. Congratulations on your second good deed, Iris. Oh, thank you. And to me, hello, I am helping her making the decisions. Suddenly tongue-tied, I find myself looking everywhere but at Rod. When I have once again gathered my senses, I turn to the road. My eyes narrowed as I recognize the path we are on. This is not the way back to the palace. No, it isn't. We're going to the Marchand. Why? Because I was on my way there before I was forced to take a detour because someone was drawing attention to herself. Oh wow, really? What? But Rod ignores me and we walk the rest of the way to the Marchand in silence. Watts is the only person in the reception room when we enter. Honestly, I think Watts is so cute. I love like the red eye and dark hair combo. Prince Rod? Princess? It's a little late for you to be here. I had meant to be here earlier. Is Lady Parfait here? Watts nods. I'll go get her. Wait here. As soon as Watts leaves us alone, Rod turns to me, his expression rigid. Rod steps closer and grabs my shoulders. Oh, he's aggressive. What the heck is going on? Even Sebi looks angry. I mean, look at that. I wasn't able to say so earlier because we were out in public, but you should know just how much danger you are in now. And yet you thought it was okay to go around on your own? He is getting mad at us because he cares about us. This is a dude who does not know how to express himself right. Dude, you can't be angry at her because I know. That doesn't make any sense. I am just, what? No. He really loves her. It's my day off. She's like, it's my day off today. I can do whatever I want to do. So why? Why do you care? Why, Iris? It's because he loves you and he cares about you. That's why he's getting angry, because you're walking around so carelessly. It is not unreasonable for me to want time for myself. Time to yourself? Don't you understand the meaning of be careful? Why would you do something so as foolish as going out into town alone? I could not help but bristle at his tone. Why are you so angry? Because you're... Rod trails off and looks away. Because you're family. Boy, do not pull the family card. Just say that you freaking love her. So you are finally acknowledging me as family? Sweet home Alabama. That just popped in my head. I noticed his cheeks turning red. To be honest, you're less of a family member and more just important. Ah, okay. That's the better. Okay. Important. Because it's better that he says that, because this would be some Alabama moment over here. Even though they're not related by blood, but technically they're family. Because of all of that you do for Emmeline. You're important to my sister and yourself, Rod, don't lie. He looks uncomfortable as he says the words, and I cannot help but to marvel at his embarrassment. Why is he so embarrassed? Girl, Iris, because he likes you. But Rod changes the topic as he turns away from me. Why were you with Viorica? I could only think of one reason you speak to her. My curse. You thought you'd find out about my curse through her. I shrug. Spot on, Rod. I could only assume that your curse has something to do with Viorica. I look up when Rod says something, then stare at the curious sight before me. He has taken Sebi off his shoulder and is holding the doll in his hands away from his face. The two seem to be engaged in some silent conversation. Then gently, Sebi speaks words I can hear. This is the right thing to do. You need to let her help you, Rod. Oh, is he going to tell us about his curse? Rod bites down on his lower lip before briefly closing his eyes. Eventually, he returns Sebi to his usual spot on his shoulder and turns to me. Fine. You're stubborn and you're not going to quit investigating unless I tell you, are you? You're right. Viorica is the reason I was cursed. Rod sits down on the seat and lets out a heavy sigh. His eyes are far away as he speaks to me. I was in love with Viorica, but I wasn't brave enough to tell her. I just followed her around like some kind of puppy. Don't tell me you stalked her that night. One day Viorica hadn't come home and it was raining very heavily, so I went out to look for her. I found her walking along the bank of the river. I called out to her to tell her to be careful, but I don't think she ever heard me. She slipped and Rod swallows. He clenches one of his hands into a fist. She fell into the river. I dived in after her. I somehow managed to get the both of us onto a riverbank, but it didn't look like Viorica was breathing. I didn't know what to do. I started panicking. I ran off to try to find help, but I couldn't find anyone in the storm. When I returned, she was gone. I rushed to her house, and a doctor was already there tending to her along with her fiancé. Rod's gaze is vacant as he nods. Wow, so her fiancé took all the credit. Not all the credit, but the hard credit. You know, going in the river, bringing her like from underneath the water, swimming through the river against the waves and onto land. Now, he took all that credit, but I'll give him his credit where he actually helped her go home and get a doctor. But poor Rod, like, Viorica did not know that Rod did most of the saving. When Viorica began to fall in with her fiance, I felt helpless. Did you not tell her that you were the one that saved her? Exactly, Rod. You should have. Why would I? Viorica was so happy believing that she and her fiance were fated to be together. I couldn't do that together. To her. My bad. I said together. To her. I just want Iris and Rod together. That's why. But surely, if you told her... Rod interrupts me. I want the people I love to be happy. But also, Rod, you need to focus on yourself, and you have to make yourself happy, you know? I don't care if their happiness causes me pain. Okay, take a step back. That is false. I do not agree with you. I do not agree with you with that. I agree to disagree. I rather bear that alone instead of bringing down those around me. My chest aches as I watch Rod's face. I never would have guessed that Rod would be so selfless. But that didn't stop me from thinking that I could still make her love me instead. Oh my gosh. I decided to become what I thought Viorica wanted most. The Prince Charming, the fairy tales she so adored. No, that's why their family got into the royal family? Crazy. And so I asked a witch to turn me into one. She stole my voice in exchange. Whoa. Only then did I realize that she inflicted the fairy tale curse upon me. The mermaid cursed. The next day, the king turned up at our house, proclaiming that he'd been looking for my mother for years and that he had never stopped loving her. Oh my gosh, this is wild. So Ophelia married the king due to a curse. That is just crazy. Everything is just mind-blowing. Oh my gosh. When the king married my mother, I became a prince. It was just as the witch promised. But it didn't matter. I didn't see it when I made the deal with the witch, but I couldn't be blind to it forever. Her fiancé and Viorica really do love each other. They make each other happy. Nothing I can do will ever change that. Rod, Prince Rod? Oh! Parfait pauses in her tracks when she sees me. Have I interrupted something? Yes, Parfait, you really did. It was getting juicy. Rod, no. Rod moves over to Parfait, but he stops to glance back at me. It won't be long. Parfait looks at Rod and then at me, her face puzzled, but she does not say a word as Rod and her leave the room. Crazy! These two chapters have been crazy. Dang. I did not get the chance to discuss Rod's curse with him later that night, nor did I get the chance to speak with Parfait and Delore about my suspicions of Sir Alcaster. Days go by, but I still find myself overwhelmed by preparations for the ball. Things become more frantic every day, making it difficult for me to have any time to speak with anyone. Eventually, I decide to write a letter containing my suspicions of Sir Alcaster. I tell Parfait and Delora that I believe he might be the witch they are looking for. I also add that I believe Fritz might somehow be involved, though my suspicions are not as well founded with him. To make matters worse, he went and disappeared. I've not heard anyone mention his name here for a very long time. I am forcefully pulled from my thoughts when I collided with someone. The linens I had been holding scattered over the floor. Excuse me, I did not. I look up and my voice trails off when I see who I bumped into. Mithros the creep. Lost in your thoughts? Sir Mithros looked at me, something veiled in his smiling eyes. I suppose there's the linens for the queen asked for. Yes, please excuse me. I began gathering up the linens, but as I reached out for one, Sir Mithros picks it up first. Allow me to help you. No, thank you. We don't need your help. It will be fine. But this was partially my fault. Let me assist you. I bite my lip and did not protest as Sir Mithros helped me gather the rest of the linens. I am contemplating my schedule for the rest of the day when I realize that Sir Mithros has been talking. I don't suppose you have any idea on who that maid is. Maid? There is a cold amusement in Sir Mithros' gaze. Surely you've heard the rumor of the young prince having been seen with the royal maid somewhere around town. Oh, gossip. What is the gossip? What is the tea, sis? Rumor has it that Prince Rod has found love among the common folk, much like his royal stepfather has. Rod with the maid? As far as I'm aware, the only maid he has been out in town has been... I freeze as Sir Mithros straightens, patting down his clothes for dust, before holding out some of the linens to me. If it is true, I wish him the best, though I wish he would be more discreet about it. A royal scandal is the last thing we need right now. I shakingly taken the linens from Sir Mithros as he inclines his head to me. Have a good day, Iris. So weird. He's just a weirdo. I walked to the dining hall in a haze, my mind whirling with the implications of what Sir Mithros had just said. I am sure it was those noblewomen who spread this rumor. Ah, Iris, thank you for bringing these to me. Just leave them on the table. I curtsy after placing the linens down as commanded. If that is all. Iris? I straighten the tone of Ophelia's voice. When I look up, I see that her expression is carefully still. I'm about to ask you something that you might not want to answer, but I very hope you will. I will answer if I can. Good. Ophelia sighs as she sits down on one of the dining table chairs and folds her hands on her lap. I've been trying to ignore it since past gossip is mostly false, but I can't help my curiosity. I bet she's going to ask about me and Rod. Or Iris and Rod. Well, I am playing Iris, so... I want to ask about your relationship with my son. What? You see, what is my favorite word here? I understand you and Rod were out together in town a few days ago. Do you want me to tell me what happened? Ooh, should we dismiss the gossip or explain the situation? No, dear mother, we are officially together. We've been together for a while. We should tell her that. So let's explain the situation. If Ophelia is asking me about these rumors, then I can only imagine what sort of story these women made up. Prince Rod was just on his way somewhere when he chanced upon me. When he saw that I was in trouble with two noblewomen, he stopped to intervene. That is all. Rod said the same thing. Then why do you ask me, Your Majesty? To see what your thought about this situation. I don't think anyone should get a say in what your relationship with Rod is. My relationship with Rod? So they're already assuming that we have something going on. I like you, Iris, and I'm certain that you're good for Rod. If I had my way, I would let him court you. So we got the mother's approval. Yes. So we can go on. Yes, the ship is sailing. I'm just blushing. I feel heat in my cheeks as I tripped over my words. The prince and I are not in a relationship. A member of the royal family cannot end up with a servant. Well, there's love. There's hope. Social status shouldn't stop you from being happy, Iris. So that's for me. If there's love, there's for hope. So let's hope I marry rich, so I can go from rags to riches. I'm kidding. But that would be nice, actually. Low-key thinking about it. If it happens, it happens. Then what about the fact that I am Ron's stepsister? I bite down on the statement fiercely. I already know that what role I am playing here, and I cannot break it. Ophelia looks at me with a complicated expression before she sighs. We really asked that question, didn't we? I would not push you on this any further. But be careful, Iris. Your closeness with my son and daughter has not gone unnoticed. I do not believe in limiting relationship because of one's status, but I understand. I curtsy as I move toward the dining hall's entrance. What did Ophelia mean by that? Closeness is not going unnoticed. Later that day, as I am waiting outside the throne room for Emmeline to finish one of her classes, two maids walk toward me and stop in front of me. Iris, isn't it? What is it? Don't tell me these girls are going to bully me. I've already finished all my tasks for the day. Oh, I am sure you have. Probably rushed through all of them so you can hang around with the prince and princess tonight. The head housekeeper has been giving you a lighter load, so you give her the time to play around, I blink at them, confused. I have no idea what you're talking about. Don't play dumb. All the servants know what you have been doing. Just because you're Princess Emmeline's personal maid doesn't make you better than the rest of us. Whoa, whoa, whoa. This went from 0 to 100 real quick. These maids need to calm down. I'd be careful not to get too big for your boots, Iris. Are you threatening me? What if we are? Then I'll be very disappointed in you. Oh, Emmeline to the rescue. Yes. Princess Emmeline. Emmeline moves to stand beside me, a disapproving expression on her face. I did not expect such petty cruelty from the two of you. You should be ashamed of yourselves. Your Highness, you really do have the talent for getting yourself in trouble. Yes, we got two people on our side. Yes. Rod pauses briefly, his eyes meeting mine for a second before he looks at the maids. Don't you have better things to do than bully my sister's maid? We apologize, Your Highness. We'll be on our way. The two maids run off. Emmeline turns to look at me. Are you okay? I'm about to answer when I notice that Rod is abruptly walking away from us. I frown at his back. He had only just started being nice to me, and now he is back to acting as if I do not exist. What did I do? Emmeline puts her hands on my back and gently pushes me forward. You wanted to ask him something, right? I could see it in your eyes. Oh, she's trying to she's the wind making the boat sail. Emmeline smiles as she pushes the door to the throne room open. Bro, I wish, I hope that whenever I find my soulmate, my beloved, I hope his sibling or whoever he's close with, his family member, would be just like Emmeline. Just be like, go for it, go. Supporting us. But she disappears into the throne room before I could finish. I glanced down the hallway. Rod just disappeared down, and then back at the throne room. My thoughts roll together in a vague mess until I make my decision. Wait! At the sound of my approaching footsteps, Rod turns and looks at me. He scolds, but he does not say anything. Should we tell him off for his favor or say nothing? We should tell him off because he'd be like, boy, you said you were nice. You said you didn't hate us. Why are you acting that way? The words spill out before me. I can even think on them. What have I done now to make you angry with me? Nothing. He turns away and I glare as I follow closely behind him. You expect me to believe that? You can at least look at me when I'm talking to you. I reach out a hand to his elbow and I pulled him back so that he is facing me. Rod. But the words die in my throat when I see the expression on his face. Oh, that is such a killer look. My heart. Stop, Rod. His face is red and he refuses to look at me in the eye. My surprise causes me to release him. Rod quickly turns around and begins to walk away. I'm left to stare dumbly after him. What is wrong with him? Normally he's not afraid to speak his mind. Girl, because he likes you. He's shy. He is shy boy. I frown as I feel a dull ache throbbing somewhere deep in my chest. What is this? Why do I feel sad? Normally Rod's distance does not make me feel like this. And yet now, I am really so sad that he does not want to speak with me. I shake my head and take a deep breath to still my mind. Is it better not to think about it? Alright, everyone. So that is the end of chapter 6 and chapter 7. It was all juicy. We got some gossip in there. We got like fist fighting. Okay, not really fist fighting, but word fighting in there. We got the truth. Our mother's a witch. Like, what the heck? These chapters were going from a 0 to 100 real quick. It was cray. You know what I'm saying? It was crazy. But we like that. It keeps us alive. It keeps us going. It keeps us interested. And I'm so excited to see what will be happening in the next few chapters. Oh, my best part is just seeing Ron blushing. It's just so cute. It makes me happy. Makes my heart skip a beat. Like, boom, boom. Alright. Enough with that. Alright, so I hope you enjoyed the video like always, and stay tuned for chapter 8 and chapter 9 in the next video. Alright, little gamers, I'll see you in the next one. Bye!